Welcome to Study in English. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Once there was a girl named Sarah. Sarah was 9 years old, and she lived in a small village. Her village was quiet and surrounded by green fields and big mountains. Sarah loved her home, but she always dreamed of learning new things and meeting new people. Sarah's school was small, and her favorite subject was writing. She loved reading stories about faraway places and exciting adventures. One day, her teacher, Miss Emily, brought a new book to class. The book was written in English. "Who wants to try reading this?" Miss Emily asked. Sarah raised her hand. "I do," she said with excitement. Sarah opened the book and looked at the words. They were different from her language. She didn't understand them, but she was curious. "Miss Emily, how can I learn English?" Sarah asked. Miss Emily smiled and said, "Learning a new language takes time, practice, and patience. But you can do it if you try." From that day, Sarah decided to learn English. She started with simple words like hello, thank you, and goodbye. Miss Emily gave her a small notebook to write the new words she learned. Sarah carried the notebook everywhere. At first, it was hard. Sarah made mistakes, and sometimes she felt shy. But Miss Emily always encouraged her. "Mistakes are part of learning, Sarah. Don't give up," she said. Every evening, Sarah sat by the window in her house and practiced. She looked at the stars and said the words out loud. "Star, moon, sky," she repeated. Her little brother, Tom, laughed and said, "Why are you talking to the stars?" "I'm practicing English," Sarah replied with a smile. One day, Sarah found an old radio in her father's room. She turned it on and heard people speaking in English. The voices were fast, but Sarah listened carefully. She repeated the words she heard. "Good morning. How are you?" she whispered. Soon, Sarah started to improve. She could say more words and even short sentences. She began helping her friends in school. When they saw an English word, they would ask Sarah, "What does this mean?" Sarah felt proud. One afternoon, Miss Emily brought a surprise to the class. It was a big world map. "Let's learn the names of countries in English," she said. Sarah learned words like America, England, India, and Australia. She dreamed of visiting these places one day. One day, something amazing happened. A visitor came to the village. His name was Mr. John, and he was from England. He didn't speak Sarah's language, so he spoke in English. The villagers were shy and didn't know what to say. But Sarah was brave. She walked up to Mr. John and said, "Hello, my name is Sarah. Welcome to our village. Mr. John smiled. Hello, Sarah. It's nice to meet you. Your English is very good. Sarah felt so happy. They talked for a long time. Sarah asked him about England, and he told her about his home. After Mr. John left, Sarah became even more determined to learn English. She asked Miss Emily for more books and started writing short stories in English. She wrote about her village, her family, and her dreams. Years passed, and Sarah grew up. She became the best English speaker in her village. She helped others learn the language, and even started teaching children. Sarah's dream of visiting other countries came true when she got a scholarship to study in England. In England, Sarah met people from all over the world. She remembered her small notebook and the nights she practiced under the stars. She realized that learning English had opened the door to a bigger world. Sarah's journey taught her one important lesson. If you have a dream and work hard, nothing is impossible. The story number 2. Emma was a 12-year-old girl who lived in a small town in the countryside. Her town was peaceful, with green hills, flowing rivers, and friendly neighbors. Emma loved her town, but she always dreamed of traveling the world. One day, her father came home with exciting news. "Emma, look what I brought for you," he said, handing her a big, colorful book. The book was full of pictures and stories about famous places in the world: New York, Paris, Tokyo, and London. Emma opened the book with wide eyes. But there was a problem. All the words were in English. Emma couldn't understand them. She could only look at the pictures. "I wish I could read this," she said. Her father smiled and said, "If you learn English, you can read this book and much more. You can even talk to people from other countries someday." From that moment, Emma made a decision. She was going to learn English. Emma's first steps. The next day, Emma asked her teacher, Mrs. Carter, how to start. "Start with small steps," Mrs. Carter said. "Learn the alphabet, simple words, and how to introduce yourself. Practice a little every day." Emma borrowed a small dictionary from the school library. It had pictures for each word. She started with words like apple, cat, sun, and water. She wrote them down in a notebook and practiced saying them out loud. At first, it was hard. Emma mixed up the words and forgot some of them. But she didn't give up. She would sit by her window every evening, repeating the words to herself. Her little brother, Max, often laughed and said, "Why are you talking to yourself?" "I'm practicing English," Emma replied with determination. Finding help. One day, while walking to school, Emma met Mrs. Green, an elderly woman who lived nearby. Mrs. Green had lived in England for many years and spoke perfect English. "Emma, I heard you're learning English. Would you like me to help you?" she asked. "Yes, please," Emma said excitedly. Every afternoon, Emma visited Mrs. Green. They practiced greetings, colors, and numbers. Mrs. Green also taught Emma songs in English. Emma loved singing, and the songs made learning fun. Discovering new tools. Emma's father noticed her progress and decided to help her even more. One evening, he brought home an old laptop. With this, you can watch English videos and listen to English songs, he said. Emma started watching cartoons in English. At first, she didn't understand much, but she listened carefully and picked up new words. She also loved singing along to songs like "Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star." Emma also discovered online games that helped her learn English. She played games where she matched words with pictures and practiced spelling. Emma's big test. After months of practice, Emma's school announced a special event. A speech contest. The topic was my dream. The catch. The speech had to be in English. Emma felt nervous but excited. She wrote her speech with Mrs. Green's help. She practiced every day in front of the mirror. Her speech started like this. "Hello, everyone. My name is Emma. My dream is to travel the world. I want to visit New York, Paris, and Tokyo. But first, I need to learn English." On the day of the contest, Emma stood on stage. Her hands shook, but she took a deep breath and began speaking. She spoke slowly and clearly, just like she had practiced. When she finished, the audience clapped loudly. Emma's teacher, Mrs. Carter, said, "Emma, that was wonderful. You've worked so hard, and it shows." A surprise letter. A few weeks later, something amazing happened. Emma received a letter from a school in England. It was a scholarship to attend an English language camp. For 1 month. Emma couldn't believe it. "Mrs. Green, this is because of you," Emma said. "No, Emma. It's because of your hard work," Mrs. Green replied. Emma's adventure in England. In England, Emma met children from all over the world. At first, she was shy, but she quickly realized they were all learning English too. They played games, visited museums, and shared stories about their countries. By the end of the camp, Emma was speaking English confidently. She wrote a letter to her parents. "Dear Mom and Dad, thank you for encouraging me to learn English. I'm having so much fun here. I've made new friends and I feel ready to explore the world. Love, Emma. When Emma returned home, she continued practicing and helping others learn English. She became a role model in her town, proving that with determination and effort, anyone could achieve their dreams. The lesson. Emma's journey taught her an important lesson. Learning a new language is like opening a door to a bigger world. It may take time, but every step brings you closer to amazing opportunities.